Hey, Scroll and Sword, welcome back. Welcome to the book of Leviticus, the book that scares everybody away from finishing the Bible. But I'm telling you, this is going to be the best week of your life, and it's only going to take around that much time to get through the book of Leviticus. But let me give you something that I pray will help you finish it. Just know that the book of Leviticus is about Jesus. And the book of Leviticus, where we're starting at, it opens up at the moment Israel finally has a dwelling place for God within their midst. You know, the book of Exodus, it ended with the tabernacle filled with divine glory, and Leviticus begins by answering the question that immediately follows. How can sinful people live near a holy God without being destroyed? The book is not about random ritual. It is a theology of nearness. I don't know about you, but do you want to be closer to God? I do. I know I do. Leviticus is about that. It's about every sacrifice, every regulation, and purification practice exists to protect the relationship between God and his people. Leviticus teaches that holiness is not abstract morality, but it's relational proximity. To come near to God requires atonement, reverence, and ordered worship. And these opening chapters that we read today introduce the sacrificial system as a way for redeemed people to draw near and to remain near. So today we read Leviticus chapters 1 through 4, focusing on the offerings that structure Israel's worship and to teach how a holy people approach a holy God. See, Leviticus introduces offerings using the term in Hebrew korban, from a Hebrew root meaning to draw near. Imagine thinking about offerings in such a way to draw near to God. God, I offer you my time. I offer you my talents. I offer you my treasure, my resources. And that means I am drawing near to God. You know, sacrifice is not about feeding God or appeasing divine hunger. It is about access. And these rituals make nearness actually possible. And the first three chapters describe voluntary offerings arising from devotion and gratitude. And chapter 4 introduces offerings required when sin actually disrupts holiness. The burnt offering is the first. The name comes from a verb meaning to ascend, referring to smoke rising heavenward. A worshiper brings an unblemished animal, presses a hand firmly on its head, and the animal is slaughtered and wholly consumed. The pressing gestures suggest identification and participation. Nothing is kept back. The offering communicates complete surrender and atonement. And for modern readers like us, the blood and fire can feel a little unsettling, but the ritual makes a theological claim. Reconciliation is costly, and devotion involves the whole self. Now the grain offering, minha in Hebrew, is bloodless. You know, fine flour, oil, and frankincense are presented with a portion burned and the remainder eaten by the priest. No yeast is permitted within the grain offering, and salt is actually required. Here's why. Yeast often symbolizes decay, while salt represented covenant permanence. This offering expresses gratitude and dedication of daily provision. You know, worship is not limited to just dramatic moments in a sanctuary. It includes the work of the land and the fruit of the labor. I'm reminded of the Bible saying later, do everything unto the Lord as worship. And then we move to the peace offering, and it centers on shared fellowship. Portions are given to God, to the priest, and to the worshiper in a covenant meal. You know, the Hebrew root suggests wholeness and well-being. Atonement leads to nearness and communion. God does not merely forgive, he restores relationship and invites shared celebration. And chapter 4 introduces the sin offering, the hatat, addressing unintentional violations that pollute sacred space. Blood is applied to the sanctuary, symbolically cleansing contamination caused by sin. You know, different sacrifices correspond to the levels of responsibility: priest, community, leader, or individual. Holiness is actually communal, and influence really does carry weight. And these rituals, they can feel really foreign because they make visible what modern faith often keeps abstract. Sin damages relationship, but holiness matters. And reconciliation requires mediation. Leviticus, it teaches us, and we'll learn this as we move through this entire book this week, that it teaches that approaching God is a gift that requires atonement, reverence, and integrity. Devotion, gratitude, and fellowship and repentance, they all belong to worship. Holiness protects relationship rather than restricting it. And these offerings, they point forward to Jesus. Like I said at the beginning, this whole book of Leviticus right here, it points to Christ, who fulfills the very meaning of all these offerings. His life reflects complete devotion. His depth provides atonement, and his work reconciles us to God himself. Because of him, access is no longer mediated through repeated sacrifice, but through a once and for all offering, like the book of Hebrews calls it. The invitation remains the exact same. Draw near with surrender, gratitude, and restored fellowship. Love y'all. See you in the discussion room.